culture that's kind of maybe not bubbled up yet, and bringing that together and melding it and, you know, then branding it her own.
People are being brought to her and said, this is a great person and whatever, and she gives them their audience, and if she decides she wants to work with them, they work.
Her greatest instinct has been to find the best people to work with and to realise her visions, whether for her music or her image.
I think they inspire her, and then they collaborate and work together on what would be best. And of course, I think she gets to pick and choose. They'll sketch out what they have in mind, and she'll pick from the sketches, and then they'll work from there. You know, I know she's really involved in what she wears.
I think Madonna is an interpreter. I don't think Madonna is, I think she can conceptualize and she can interpret. She doesn't go in the studio and play that part on the keyboard.
I mean, all right, well, just look behind me. Modern life is so in your face, so changing all of the time. You don't, you know, you're no longer, I don't think, a fan of one type of music.
The roads are littered with people who used to work with Madonna.
She knew who to use, who to talk to climb up that ladder I talked about before.
All of a sudden, her and Jelly Bean were like this, you know. He was a young Turk, and very happening, and all of a sudden he had to produce her records and do the work and whatever, and yes, she moves on. I think she's smart to do that.
I mean, she's kind of known in the industry for never working with the same person twice, you know, and I think it's because of the kind of music that she's making. It's not about helping her bring out her musical skills, or it's about fashion.
Ambition-wise, she wanted to be a star, and she knew she's going to be a star, and she knew who to talk to, who to go to, who to run to.
She can't be pinned down to one type of music. Sure, you could classify it all under the pop umbrella. That wouldn't entirely be accurate, because pop has its various subsets, which she has touched upon nearly every single one of them.
Madonna's been very, very clever in terms of producing and being ahead of her time. Ray of Light was way ahead of her time with William Orbit. Then after William Orbit was the French guy, Meroise.
And those who have worked with her say she is always low-key and professional.
Madonna was very professional. Madonna didn't drink, Madonna didn't do drugs. She came to work.
So every day there would be, you know, a fresh batch of like flowers and stuff like that in the room, and candles everywhere, and the assistant engineer had to go around and light all the candles. So when she came in, it was like it was an atmosphere. And Madonna would just like walk home. She would just put on a cap, some sunglasses, and walk down the street. And I can always tell which direction, because I would have to walk home in the same direction. I can always tell which way she went, because people are like, "Is that Madonna? Was that Madonna just walked?" I don't know. No, it couldn't have been her.
As a strong and powerful woman, Madonna has been held up as a feminist icon. For a lot of people, she will always remain the anti-feminist.
It took her a long while to get control of it. You know, in the 80s, she was kind of infuriating to a lot of feminists. You know, people were very, very angry about, and infuriating to a lot of left-leaning people with the song Papa Don't Preach, because at the time it was taken as an anti-abortion song, which it isn't really, but it was sort of seen that way at the time.
I think she's changed popular music culture. Before Madonna, there were very few women who had that much power in the music business. I think that's really important. And I think she has said a lot in her music.
She's a gazillionaire, right? I mean, you don't become that wealthy by being stupid.
She is a powerful woman who's in control of her own destiny. She's, you know, not just a musical celebrity, but she's also a business mogul.
She changed the world with I think giving girls self-esteem and power.
She's somebody who has carved a space for women in music that didn't exist before.
But still, is associated with having traded on her sexual image to amass that her sort of artistic catalog, her money, her art collections, everything, I think, in most people's minds, is boiled back down to her image, her sexual image.
You could almost say that Madonna, if she wasn't the first, she's maybe the most egregious example of women, female celebrities being looked at particularly because of their sexuality and their bodies.
In 1995, after the erotica girly show sex book era, Madonna went to work on an altogether softer project. The result was the R&B sounding album Bedtime Stories. Michael Fossenkemper was her engineer come mediator, as Madonna and the producer Dave Hall were not speaking at the time.
The day that I got to the studio, I got a call from, I was the only one there, and I got a call from Madonna and she wanted to talk to me. Dave and Madonna had some kind of a falling out over some reason or another, and she asked if I would still engineer even if Dave wasn't around. Basically, they were pretty much never there at the same time, Dave and Madonna. So they were, I guess they had their people letting each other know when the other one was there. So I was kind of like the mediator between the two of them.
There were always fallings out.
Now her manager, after my album, Freddie DeMann, who was manager of Michael Jackson, left Michael to become Madonna's manager. Up until they did Maverick Records. And then they had a falling out at Maverick after Alanis Morissette sold 25 million records. They bought Freddie DeMann out. But I think Madonna, very, very smart, very intelligent. She knows how to work the media.
And Madonna was always calling the shots.
I didn't see a lot of people, you know, around telling her yes, no. She was there, you know, which was nice, you know. She didn't show up with a huge entourage of people. It's usually her and the assistant, you know, to help, you know, take care of phone calls or whatever. I mean, there are people coming in and out of the sessions constantly, but they're just, you know, friends or whatever, you know. People in the next studio, just every day it was someone else, you know. Oh, look at Rosie O'Donnell, you know. Oh, look, there's Dennis Rodman.
Even from the very beginning, Madonna was in total control, as Bob Blank remembers from the early days.
It's the first time that I saw that how much power she could have. As an artist working on their first record, you know, everybody patronizes them and tells them, oh yeah, sure, yeah, we'll do that. And then they go in and bring in the heavy hitters. And one of the reasons they were in our studio was they felt they could keep an eye on her and that she'd be surrounded by talent. But she really changed the whole situation around.
In 1985, when Madonna married Sean